So I finally finished The Dragon Prince. I have caught up to season 7 on Netflix, and I actually watched the show back when I think season 2 was coming out around that time, but I watched it years ago, and I remember where I left off was such a big cliffhanger, and then I just didn't pick it up again afterwards until recently because I saw news about the Dragon King, which we'll probably get into later on. If you haven't watched The Dragon Prince, it's something that I highly recommend, especially if you are a Avatar: The Last Airbender fan, or even if you like Arcane. I think you would really enjoy this show. There's a lot of similarities to Avatar: The Last Airbender because the Dragon Prince co-creator and head writer is Aaron Ehas, and he also was the head writer and lead storyteller of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he is one of the main reasons why Avatar was so loved, and it really carries on into this show. If you really enjoy Avatar's wholesomeness and the humor, also the complex characters like Azula, Zuko, it also has like this amazing ability to shift tone from silly to serious and dark to like really heartfelt and dramatic, which obviously Avatar had, but you can definitely see this in The Dragon Prince as well, and I think it's really great. 1 second you're like laughing and stuff, hee, this like weird stuff is happening, and then suddenly like a character does something that you did not expect at all. Even though it's like so different, it seamlessly transitions into those moments, which I think is like really amazing. But it also has like similar themes like elemental fantasy. One of the main themes is the burden that chosen young leaders must face. So similar to how Avatar was with Aang, and how he was kind of like born into a world where he has to save as a 12-year-old kid. This also kind of happens as well in this story with Prince Ezran and the Dragon Prince as well. And also there are a lot of Easter eggs to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I remember when I first watched it I was like so excited every time I would catch one. Sometimes you could see references to Sokka's boomerang. At some point someone says yip yip, and also you can see Aang's glider and Sokka's boomerang in the background in some part of the show. Also Callum and Sokka also have the same voice actor, which is super amazing, and I love it because the references hit so hard when Callum says it, so it's like really fun. If you haven't seen Dragon Prince, I really recommend it. It's all on Netflix, all 7 seasons of it. Go watch it. I know the animation in the beginning is kind of like not my favorite. I think back when I first watched it, it wasn't the biggest deal to me, but then I kind of tried to rewatch it before continuing where I left off, but it was just like I just could not. It's a little bit of criticism, but I would say just to push through, and the animation gets so much better later on, I promise you, as well as the art and everything. From now on it's gonna be all spoilers. I just wanted to yap about the show since I did catch up to it recently. I wanted to rewatch all of it before picking it up again at season 4 because obviously it was so long ago when I watched it, I can't really remember, but it was just like a little hard for me, I'm not gonna lie. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna continue from season 4, and I kind of just like remember the gist of like the first 3 seasons. This review, or this like little yap session, is really just gonna be about seasons 4 until 7, so all of the Dragon Prince Mystery of Aaravos arc basically is just what this video is gonna be about. It was such a roller coaster. I think watching it just like really gave me nostalgia of like how I felt with watching Avatar. It was one of those such like feels good stories, if that makes sense. Like at the end I really felt empty, and I also felt a big sense of bro I need more. Callum. So obviously with the season, everyone kind of grew up a little bit. It's been 2 years. Callum, I think he looks like really good. It was really nice to see like a whole fresh look for a majority of the characters, even Callum. And I think he really grew into looking more confident in his elemental skills, and his like character design just really reflected his personality a lot more. I totally forgot that Rayla straight up left in the end of season 3. I did not remember that, and then he was like, Rayla, she left me. My birthday is so sad because it just reminds me of when she left. And then she came back and she was like, hey, what's up? And like she looks so cute too. And then Callum was like, I don't even want to look at you right now, you broke my heart. And then Rayla's like, bro, I feel bad, but like I'm here now, hey. I was like, Callum, I already know you want to freaking hug her and be like, I miss you so much, but there's this sense of pride that is like stopping him from doing all that stuff, and it's just like, okay, fine, I know you're sad, but like I think that was a really realistic way of showing that. Callum and Rayla, so freaking cute, man, so cute. High key, you already see like, you know, Rayla was all like lovey-dovey with him. Like he fell asleep after she first like came back. She's like, you're so cute when you're like sleeping right? And he's just like you know? But like Rayla, you can really see that like she never changed. And something that I love about this show is that like they kind of don't do the annoying ass tropes where one character is holding a grudge and like they don't want to talk and it makes the other character really upset and then they're just like bad vibes, you know? But even though Callum was like really upset that she left and he's not really like giving her like his honest feelings straight up, he's more like, you don't really deserve that right now. And then Rayla's more like, you know, I understand, but I'm still gonna show you all my love. Not like I'm gonna kiss you right now, I'm gonna hug you right now. It's more like I'm gonna show you that I still care and that I feel like I have the same feelings that I did 2 years ago when I left. And I understand if you don't, but I will still fight for that, you know, whenever you're ready. And I think that's so great because we don't need Rayla to be like, fine, you don't like me anymore, I'm gonna move on. Like, I hate that. I like how everyone is a little bit more emotionally mature and they don't explore the annoying relationship tropes that like a lot of shows do. I like that because if they were like, you know, like arguing back and forth, like nothing would have gotten done. Like it would have been so unbearable to watch. But because they are kind of like more civil with each other, they still, you know, were mature enough to go on those missions together. Even if they weren't like together, they were still like in a team together, you know, to do whatever mission they needed to do. They were still like, mission comes first, this is what's important. So good, I love it. So I just like that little like, you know, ease into it. I'm also happy that they didn't just also the total opposite of that annoying ass trope where Callum was just like, I missed you, hug, kiss, you know, like how at the end we're just like, let's reenact that moment when we first saw each other. I'm happy that it happened when it happened, you know what I mean? When he was ready, when they redeveloped their relationship throughout this new journey together. Because like 2 years is a long time. It really is a long time. It doesn't feel like a long time, but like so much things happen in 2 years and like you can grow so much and you can change so much in 2 years. But it's nice that they took the time to kind of like redevelop their relationship instead of like just pretending nothing happened, because it would have been like, girl, you left for 2 years. Something did happen. I love that. I love them so much. Like, I get so like killing, especially at the end. Like, oh my god, when they were like on their journey to get the quasar diamonds and they were like on like the ice. Rayla, girl, she just had that one sleeping bag. Callum's went down into the ice, into the water. I was like, that means they're gonna be sharing a little sleeping bag that night, right? I was like, I already called it. And then, oh my god, freaking Stella and Sneasels, they are MVP, best wingman ever. That episode, bro. Callum did not want to sleep with her in the sleeping bag. She's like, bro, it's not even that serious. You're gonna get hypothermia. Here, blanket, right? But then Stella Ella Ola out here was like, nah, let's just make them cuddle. You know? And I like how like little like little like instances where they're like gonna kiss, but then like they don't because the whole place is like, oh no, what happened in that episode was they were gonna kiss and then Callum was like, I gotta tell you something, I use dark magic, and they start arguing like an old married couple. But you know what, it was so freaking cute, so it didn't matter. So like, I mean, I was like, no, it was giving like, if you watched Inuyasha in the final acts when Kagome and Inuyasha almost kiss, but then Sokka comes in and he's just like, Sota comes in. He's like, hi, I'm home. And then that kiss never happens, but it happens later on. So if anything, it just made it more like juicy. You know what I mean? It just made it more juicy. In the final episode where, you know, Callum was gonna give up his life because like he was like, yo, I'm going to do dark magic to save the world. It's in the prophecy. But I'm not gonna let Aaravos take me over. So I have an assassin to kill me. And then freaking Rayla's dad, Renan, was like, I'll do it. Rayla was like, I'm not gonna do it. Callum knew this girl was not gonna do it. But then Renan got yeeted by Claudia. And then, oh my god, Rayla was like, I'm gonna do it then. For the world, no matter how dark, how vile. That part was so insane. I was gonna cry. It would have hit so hard if that happened, but I'm so happy it didn't. That part was kind of confusing to me because there's this whole prophecy thing, and then it kind of didn't really play out the way the elf with the blindfold foresaw. But I think it makes sense though, because it's like one of the main themes about the show is that nothing's set in stone. You create your own future. I'm glad that it kind of worked out in a different way. Rayla, Callum, so freaking cute. Love them. One last thing about them too. I love when, oh my god, when they first kiss. I'm getting like so killing over this. When they first kissed, and then like he was like, and then they were like, no, never mind, I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to say it anymore. Something I love about the show is also that they're not shy about showing affection, which is so interesting to me because like I think a lot of couples just naturally show affection. Like even with Amaya and Janai, they be kissing and it's like normal, right? I think a lot of shows growing up, you'll get one singular kiss scene in the whole 167 episodes, aka Inuyasha, excluding one movie. But sometimes that slow burn just makes it hit harder. But like also Avatar, right? They only had like one singular kiss scene at the end, but it also hit. But showing a lot of affection also hits too. That's just something interesting that I thought about. Next, Ezran. Ezran, this sweet boy. It's so crazy because like in the beginning of season 4, he's like, okay, we're gonna have like this big fun party to welcome the dragons and to like solidify like a relationship between dragons and humans. But then he becomes like a totally different person towards the end of season 7, where he's like, we are going to create a new kingdom where everybody is going to live in harmony. No such thing as utopia, but you know, we'll make it work. He literally led wars against freaking Aaravos. It's so crazy to see the shift in his tone and his character from literally just having like a fun little tea party, showing Dragon a really yummy pastry and like gifting them like a painting and everything, to a child leading his people, saving them from their home that was destroyed by a big ass dragon. It reminds me of Avatar so much because Aang was someone that didn't want to be the Avatar. He just wanted to have fun, be a kid, but because of like his destiny, it was something that he had to do. And then like towards the end of the show, you see the shift in his character where he's like hella stressed out about what the heck to do, but then like he ended up being a lot more emotionally mature than an old man. A grown-ass man. It's interesting to see even him try to negotiate with Karim as well when they were trying to start a war with Janai's people. I feel bad for him because he's just a kid and he's doing something that a lot of even like grown-ass people can't do properly. He really knows how to talk to his people. For example, when they were doing like the whole like, you know, like, hi dragons, we love dragons, and then like he was like, this is a gift to the dragons, and it's like a painting, and then there's like a hole in the painting, so someone had vandalized the painting because someone probably doesn't agree with whatever's happening, right? And then it made Ezran kind of like remember, even though we're doing all this stuff, there's still like a big stigma around dragons and a lot of hate against these magical creatures, elves, dragons, whatever. And he kind of had like such a big moving speech about like how this is not something that's going to change overnight, but this is something that we should remember, the past instances and like the past hatred between the two species of beings. Those instances don't get erased, but we can move past them and live in a more forgiving and more empathetic society. And I think it's just so nice. And I think he's like so well spoken. He's probably one of the better leaders out of all the leaders in this show. I'm really proud of Ezran. Zim wasn't really doing much. He was kind of more of a side character in this one, but you do also see his development. Like he was more of like a scared creature in the beginning. He was like always by Ezran's side, by his mom's side, but then he kind of like decides to do things on his own, especially towards the end. I think he was really inspired by Ezran and he decided to fight for himself and for his people and for Ezran as well. And then he also learned how to talk. Does this happen after his parents die or something, like, or he just reached like mature age to speak English? Because for the longest time he was just barking like a dog, which is like really cute, but like that was something I questioned, like when is Zim gonna speak? Viren is such an interesting roller coaster of events. Viren is someone I think I feel a lot of pity for. He obviously was manipulated in some way, obviously used as a vessel by Aaravos, but in the beginning all he wanted to do was save his son, save Soren, but obviously he was not emotionally mature because him saving Soren, using dark magic, literally like pinning his wife to the wall, her tears, for the spell to save Soren, and then his wifey being like, I'm leaving, you're weird, bye, which, you know, can't believe his wife even left her kids too and went no contact. That's crazy, which, you know, she has a little bit of fault there, but I kind of get it. But Viren then blaming it on Soren, are you kidding me? And then like Soren having to carry that for the rest of his life is crazy. I think Viren was incredibly flawed person, but it really kind of went full circle in the end. You kind of like see the way he sees, and you kind of see how he decided to take ownership of what he did and like know what he has done wrong. Because like there's a lot of parents out there that will never ever admit that they're wrong and will blame the whole world before they say I'm sorry. It's incredible that Viren had to be revived and had to go through all that to finally be like, yeah, I was wrong, I'm sorry. His story was kind of like really crazy to me. How he literally betrayed his best friend because he thought he could do it better, dies, also kills a bunch of people in the meantime. And then this poor girl, Claudia. Like, it makes me so emotional thinking about her because I can only feel so bad for her because she's just a victim of Viren, her dad, Aaravos. She has, first off, daddy issues. You can really see that at the end. Really, really bad. And Claudia just following in Viren's footsteps is incredibly sad. Claudia, she looked up to her dad a lot, obviously, especially after her mom leaving. Claudia looked up to her dad doing dark magic, him teaching her everything. He obviously favored Claudia more than Soren over what happened, and so she was treated better. The fact that she did everything in her power to bring him back in the last 2 years was so sad. It's really sad because when the first episode of season 4 happens, he's like, you're alive, I had to do a lot of crazy things to get your body back, but here you are, only 30 more days to do XYZ for you to actually have a permanent body. It's really sad because like you already know she's done crazy shit in the last 2 years. We don't know what exactly, but like if doing the other things that she did in the rest of the show was that easy for her, imagine what she had to go through to get to that point of being desensitized. And it's interesting how like even when Viren came back, you can see signs of like PTSD, a lot of like trauma from wielding dark magic. It's just like you already kind of know, like he was like, I don't really want to deal with this. I don't really know what's going on, but I kind of do want to live because my daughter is doing all this stuff for me, right? But like you already see that he's really hesitant on what's happening. So then Claudia's like, bro, I already went through so much these past 2 years. I have to do everything to get you back. Everything has to be worth it. Everything I've done so far has to be worth it. So for her, it's all or nothing. But then Viren's like constantly like hesitant over everything to the point where like they're going up the mountain. She's like, oh, you know what? Like it's really hard for you. I'll just do the rest. You know, he just like waits for them at the bottom of the mountain while they literally go up trying to steal back the staff from the dragons, which led Terry, her boyfriend, which we will get into later, led him to kill somebody. That is just really sad. I think it's really sad because first off, Terry, we already see later on in the show that he's like a very innocent person. You can literally see the map that, you know, only innocent eyes can see later on in the show. But Terry is someone that grounds, which is like really ironic because he's an earth elf, grounds Claudia back to like who she really is, to her true nature, to her childhood self. And I love that for her and for him. But letting him get to the point where he actually like murders somebody is kind of crazy. But like Terry is a real one for like literally letting that go past him, because like Terry, after having to do that, like I would have lost my mind. I would have been like, this is not good. Like he already knows that she's done like a lot of bad stuff, but like I think it gets to a point to where he starts doing those bad stuff too. But in his defense, in Claudia's defense, it was for self-defense because he knew that the other elf was gonna kill Claudia, so then he killed the other elf first to stop him. So I don't know, there's like a little bit of a gray area there. I just think Terry and Claudia were so freaking cute. So cute. So cute. Claudia just had a bigger goal, and it was really just to save her dad. So then towards the end of the 30 days, Claudia literally doing the everything, doing the freaking most to get to Aaravos so her dad could permanently live, fighting Ezran, Callum, literally almost killing them. Her getting her leg chopped off was insane. I think it's also like symbolic because it's like she will give an arm and a leg, you know? Full Metal Alchemist. Arm and a leg to revive his dad. Oh my god, wait, was that a Full Metal Alchemist reference? She was willing to give an arm and a leg to get her dad back, but she failed until this scene was so... I never dropped my mouth so insanely low in my life. Okay, maybe I have, but this was an incredible scene. So Viren is like, GG's, I'm about to die. Aaravos is like, yeah, you're gonna die unless you get blood of child. And he was like, I'm never going to sacrifice my children. You're crazy for that. Aaravos is like, oh, not Claudia and Soren. I mean, our baby. I'm like, ew. He's like, our little caterpillar baby that's now a butterfly. And that little guy, like, even though he's like really creepy and scary and weird, he was so cute. He was like holding Viren's hand, helping him out because Viren was like in his like, I don't know what's happening mode, and like he was even like helping like row the boat and everything. Like he had a conscience, he knew what he was doing. He was just like not developed enough to like communicate that, but like he had a soul in some ways, that little blood of child. And then Aaravos is like, you have to kill him. And then Viren was like, hell nah, even though this thing is really weird, I'm not doing that. This thing has a life. I'm just gonna die. Bye. And then it's so crazy because he's just laying there. Terry is like dude, grabbing some sticks, and then he runs into Viren and he's like, I'm alive. I'm like, whoa. So Aaravos was like lying this whole time until they find Claudia, and that scene was insane. Claudia literally insane, and she was like, I did what I had to do. And I think in her perspective, it's like, I did what I have to do. Like I already did so much bad shit. What's another bad thing to do gonna do to me? I'm already like destroyed with evil within me. This is just another Monday. So her doing that was insane. Seeing the wings on the ground, the blood like ritual circle, bro. And it just pans to her literally being destroyed, like her face riddled with dark magic, her hair barely any of black strands left, almost completely white, and also her leg bleeding out because of the battle that she just had. This is like one of the things where I feel like Viren just never beating the allegations of not being a great dad. He sees all this happening, everybody's jaws dropping like, girl, what did you just do? Viren was like kind of selfish in that moment. I'm not gonna freaking lie. But then again, Claudia is also a little bit selfish because she was like, you owe me your life. I did all this for you. But it's also one of those things where it's like, Viren didn't ask to be revived. When he came back, he was like, damn, I'm here, but like, I don't really want to be. I think Viren should have had a talk with her. I think he needed to say more. He just left. That scene was almost the equivalent to like Azula's crash out at the end of Avatar. That scene made me feel so freaking bad for her. Even though she's done so much bad stuff, like imagine like willing to do all this evil stuff for somebody just for them to throw it all away without second guess, without saying thank you. Not that Viren should have said thank you. Maybe he should have said thank you, Claudia, for everything you've done, but I kind of see all the wrong that I've done in my life. This is not a path I should go to. He should have like helped lead Claudia to see what she's done, but obviously, especially when having that emotional breakdown, I could understand that whatever Viren said, she probably would not listen. So that was probably one of the most intense scenes in the show, and I loved it. It was so crazy. Felt so bad for Claudia. Viren, I don't know what he should have done. Okay, maybe I do. I don't know. Oh my god, Claudia being like, my mom left me, my brother left me, now my dad left me. You're not gonna leave me. You're never gonna leave me because I'm leaving first. I did not see that coming. I thought she was gonna become like a crazy girlfriend where she's like, you're never gonna leave me, Terry. Nah, she's like, I'm leaving first, bye. So she leaves. Even after all of that, Terry was still like, I love you. Like, if you ever need me, I'm gonna be right here waiting. And she's like, blah, 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 bye. She had like her crash out for a couple days on her own. Realized she's bleeding out by the leg. Haven't eaten in days. Haven't showered. Underarm stanky. She goes back to Terry. Terry takes her back with open arms, bro. Open arms. Best boyfriend award goes to Terry. Sorry, Callum, you're like second place. Terry number 1, best boy, through and through. Despite everything she's done, he loved her unconditionally. Bathed her after, did her hair, cut her hair, fed her. And she was like, what do you want to do now? You know, and she was like, I want to see my dad again. I need to see what I need to do. He will tell me. Even though Terry was like, okay, if that's what you really want, we'll go. They go, and Claudia realizes, oh shit, my dad's dead. Everything I did, was for nothing, having a crisis. And now she's like, well, maybe I need to revive Aaravos. And then Aaravos like speaks to her. She does all the Aaravos stuff. They hang out, go on a carousel ride. Terry is like, I don't really like Aaravos, but you know, if this is what Claudia wants, I support her. Oh, one thing that made Terry amazing though was, even though she did all these like crazy stuff, the one thing that she genuinely believed that she wanted to do out of maliciousness, aka not giving Rayla back the coins that her literal family is trapped inside of, Terry was like, I didn't like that. That was really crazy, which led Claudia to give it back to her. It's really nice to see Terry not really being someone who like just lets all that thing slide. If he sees that she genuinely wanted to do those things out of like maliciousness, he calls her out. But then like the other instances, like killing blood of child and like everything else, was for her dad. So I think that's where he kind of was like, I see where you're coming from. But with that, it was like, girl, you didn't have to do that. His breaking point to where Harry decided to leave Claudia was he started seeing that she started using him. You could see the map, but I'm not gonna tell you that I can't see it. Her and Aaravos just like using his skills without telling him the full truth. And it was also really nice to see like how emotionally mature Terry is, to see his boundaries and to call out Aaravos straight up like that. Like he was like, okay Aaravos, maybe you don't lie, but everything you say is full of half-truths. The rest of it has maliciousness in it, has a lie in it. Like with the whole feather thing, it was like, oh, find me a small feather and a big feather. He did, but the reason why was because he wanted the freaking mama bird to kill. Terry is probably one of the most like MVP characters out of everybody. Wholesome, emotionally aware, he knows his boundaries. And seeing all that, seeing how he felt like Aaravos, especially Claudia, betrayed him, he was like, if this is the relationship you want me to change, maybe this isn't gonna work out. He's like, I love myself too much to let myself change in a negative way for you. Yes, Terry, leave her. Like even though Terry really tried, he really helped her, even doing weird ass things, at the end of the day, Terry just knew, I gotta do what I gotta do for myself. If this is the route you want to go, you can go towards it, but I'm not gonna change and lose myself for you, king. I think this is the perfect opportunity to go into Aaravos. Aaravos is probably one of the most interesting villains, and it's like really interesting to see like his personality come out, especially when they were like doing the carousel ride and him admitting that Claudia reminded him of his daughter, happy spirited she is and how silly she is, but also how strong-willed she is as well. It's also interesting to see how twisted this man is. He will do anything. Him and Claudia are so similar to where it's like, I've already done so much bad shit in my life, like what's another? And he's doing this all for his daughter. Something that I think is interesting about Aaravos is that he wanted to bring back the in-between. So I was thinking, if his daughter died, wouldn't she be in the in-between, because she kind of like left with like unfinished business? I thought we were gonna see her again, but I guess we didn't. So maybe she's not in the in-between. Maybe she did leave. But it was interesting because at the end of the show, there's like this whole quote at the end, and it was from Aaravos' daughter, and it was like to love other people, and it was like incredibly wholesome. So maybe she did leave with her business finished, and that was like her message to the world. It's interesting to see how like wholesome Aaravos was in his like backstory, and like how he loved humans and blah 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 blah, and how his daughter loved humans, and just because she gave magic to humans, she had to face death penalty, which I kind of, you know, I see how that is excessive. Could they not have taken the magic back? Did they really have to kill a child? I don't know. Is the social order really that important? What did killing the daughter do? Humans still have magic. They're still doing that. Maybe the magic isn't the best thing though, because it did bring a lot of tragedy in the world, but it did help in some way. Soren's alive. We have Soren from dark magic. I don't know, but there's also primal magic, right? There's good magic that doesn't require darkness. But maybe it's like one of those things where it's like you can't have either or. They both have to coexist, because that is what magic is. Maybe there's like some lore stuff that I'm missing. Aaravos, very interesting. I think he's twisted, dark, but I see where he's coming from. I'm just intrigued. I just want to see more about like his thought process and stuff like that, because you can see how he's still kind, but like you also don't know his like intention. He could be kind because he needed Claudia later. In the last episode, he was like, Claudia, go. She's like, why? why? He's like, I can't see another daughter leave. So it's kind of giving like an Arcane, Jinx, and I forgot his name, her dad. Even seeing Aaravos call Claudia his new daughter and that he's her new dad, it felt very dark because he used her to get to that point of their like relationship. I don't think anyone's ever going to replace Claudia's dad in her eyes, but I can also see how she has resentment over him because of how he left her and like how he allowed her to do all this dark magic stuff. He didn't stop her. I think Aaravos just really love bombed her and is telling her the things that she wants to hear, which is why Claudia kind of like gravitates towards him. She just doesn't know where to go because she doesn't have a family, doesn't have friends anymore. Terry is like bye, so obviously she's gonna do everything she can for Aaravos. She lost everything and she can see where he's coming from, especially after learning his backstory. Claudia's like, I relate, I did all this stuff for my dad and I think you should do this for your daughter. And I love Terry though as well, because even though he kind of let her do all this stuff, hearing Aaravos' backstory, he was also like, you need to see where he's coming from though. Everything he's doing is out of revenge and it's not really to better anybody else. It's more to just avenge his daughter's death, but everyone in the whole world is collateral damage. But it's also like a situation where it's like, did his daughter deserve to die just because of this celestial order? Like, I get it, but the way he's doing it is wrong. And I think that's where like Ezran will talk no jutsu. You know what I mean? I don't know if Ezran will end up talk no jutsuing him. Maybe Claudia will, because Claudia's the only like close character to him, but I don't know if Claudia will ever see that. Let me know what you think about him down below. And then there's like the Sunfire Elves arc with Janai and Karim. Them two remind me of the Past King and Viren. It was like very similar. It was like the power struggle. It's like, I can do it better, la la. Circle of hatred. It repeats, right? So Janai and Karim, siblings. Karim's like, I can do this better. What is this like wholesome shit that you're trying to do? Like, we need to be fighting people right now. Which I kind of do get. Like, Janai was more like worried about her wedding, but it's also one of those things where it's like, what else can they do right now? I just wanted to add, Karim was also Omega anti-human. He did not like the humans. He was okay with Janai marrying a human, but he was afraid that that was going to become a symbol of intertwining with human society is okay. And Janai's like, there's no problem with that. We're gonna live side by side with humans, especially since they're at like a refugee camp with humans. Karim was like, no, this can't be permanent. We have to be elves. But the way he decided to do all this stuff was insane. Also, oh my god, with Sol Regum, that was crazy. The wedding scene where Ezran was trying to stop the fire elves on Janai's side from attacking Karim because he found out that it was like a trap. That scene felt so strong because it was like, this king can't even like stop these people. They have rage in their hearts and they're trying to defend their people. The plot twist of it all was insane. How Sol Regum literally was manipulated because he was blind and flew over Katalis because he was being controlled by Aaravos' vessel, and then they burnt down Katalis. That was such a crazy plot twist, because my first thought was like, did Sol Regum just use Karim to get his flight back and he just wanted to like, you know, fly away, be free, and be a good little dragon? No, he got manipulated to burn down Katalis, which was insane, by Aaravos, just so Viren would use dark magic and for the pearl to get loose for Claudia to find. All these people displaced just for Aaravos. And it was insane because like that was such like that whole situation with Karim and Janai was like just chaos that's happening all under Aaravos' plan to get him out of the pearl. Which like these people, Janai, Karim, they don't even know anything about the pearl. They don't know what's happening. They didn't know the pearl exists. They don't know Aaravos. But like it was Aaravos that was manipulating them the whole time to have a struggle, to fight, just so he can get Sol Regum to set him free. Insane. It's so crazy because like the way the show formats it is that we always constantly like flip back and forth from the Sunfire Elves to like whatever Ezran's doing to whatever Callum's doing. So it feels like there's multiple stories going on at the same time, but they're all connected. But sometimes you forget that they're connected. But that moment when Sol Regum burnt down Katalis, that's when you kind of like remember, oh shit, we're in the same universe. This is all under Aaravos' plan. This is one story. You know what I mean? Like, you get snapped out of it. Like, it's all connected. And it's kind of crazy. The writing in the episode was amazing. Loved it. That was so good. Also, at the end, Karim is stupid. The way he died was crazy because he was like, So many times he was like, I'm gonna betray my sister, blah 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 blah. Gets banished, and then the priest of the Sunfire Elves was like, oh, let me help you. So then they end up like getting an army. His wifey comes, even betrays Janai. They do that whole failed ambush. Karim literally gets locked up again, and then he still wants to betray Janai despite everything. Still wants to. His wifey is like, bro, give it up. We need to do this for our kids' future. Oh my god, the ending? Janai was like, we need you to protect the sun by destroying the orb thingy. And Karim can only do it. Only Karim can do it. And in that moment, he still decided to betray Janai. That's 3 times. He just would not let it go. And he was like, Aaravos, we can be a team. If not for me, this could be destroyed right now. Like, he was more like trying to like negotiate with Aaravos on the spot. Like, ruined the whole plan to like literally save the world just for Aaravos to squish him in his hands and kill him in 2 seconds. That was so insane, but it was kind of so satisfying. Like, Aaravos was like kind of base for that, but it was insane that Karim would go that far to betray Janai because he genuinely believed that he deserved to rule over the Sunfire Elves. But then Aaravos was like, the fuck you going on about? Bye. Boom. Imagine that. That's crazy. But it was so satisfying because it's like again, like, remember how I was explaining about like those little tropes that I don't like? One of those tropes where like a character cannot just like let go of something annoys me so bad. But the way they ended his story to stop him was so satisfying. So crazy. Felt bad for Janai though, because she literally had to see her brother get smushed into submarines by a titan, which is insane. But deserved. Deserved. If you're gonna go that far, I don't care what happened to you anymore. And then we also have the Dragon King, Avizandum, and Zubeia, Dragon Mother. The way Avizandum came back, it was also kind of sad though, because like I didn't realize he was in the in-between. I thought he made it to heaven, but I guess it makes sense that he was in the in-between. Maybe it was like Zubeia's like conscience, like remember how like she got like bit and she was like, oh, I'm gonna die, the darkness is taking over. Kind of reminded me of like a whole Princess Mononoke moment. She had a vision of Avizandum being like, you have to keep going, find help, you have to do it for Zim, right? I was like, oh my god, like he's talking to her from heaven, yada yada yada, only for him to actually be in the in-between, bruh. And then him being like taken back, and she was like, Avizandum, no. And then their friend, I forgot the other dragon's name, oops, but the other dragon, Loki, I think he had a thing for Zubeia. He just lost 2 battles of raiding all of Zadia or whatever they do. And he also lost Zubeia because every time Zubeia comes up, he's like, Zubeia, hi. Like, if Zubeia, oh my god, if Zubeia didn't come back, it was like Avizandum during like that final like little battle moment, that man could have lived. He would have lived. He would have lived. But he was like, Zubeia, dead. Avizandum got him, dead. And Zubeia was like, no, what's happening? Like, I get it. I get it. But girl, you distracted him and now he's dead. And now all of you are dead. But it was like nice though, because Avizandum saw Zim and stuff, he like snapped out of it. Both of them were able to kind of defeat Aaravos' like physical form. So that was nice. That was nice. That was really nice. Oh yeah, that moment made me cry when she was like, Zim, goodbye Zim. Like, tears. It was so emotional because like, bro, I already thought Rayla was gonna kill Callum. And I also thought that Ezran was gonna sacrifice himself with Zim. There's like so much going on. So many people could have literally, but I guess it was better that it was the dragons than anyone else. Zubeia, Avizandum, you guys did good. Good job, guys. But yeah, that moment made me cry. Towards the ending, I felt so incomplete. I thought we were getting an ending. I thought the story was done and we were just continuing the Dragon King, which is the Kickstarter show. Thought it was gonna be like a whole other story. La 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 la. Aaravos done, defeated, which he is defeated, but he's gonna come back in 7 years. So hopefully we do get a show, the next part of the story, before 7 years, because bro, it felt like an ending, but it didn't feel like an ending because the main villain is still out there, just not out there, just waiting for him to come back. The ending is really just them preparing for his return, them not rebuilding, but creating a new home and waiting for Aaravos' return. To me, it didn't feel satisfying, and it's such a shame that Netflix didn't renew the story for another final arc. Such a shame. Such a shame. But to be fair, they did get 7 seasons, 9 episodes per season. Girl, they deserve more. But it's insane that like Netflix kind of just like let them end it on a cliffhanger. Like, what? I'm really excited for the new show, The Dragon King, fully adult story, which makes me really excited. I think it's gonna take a long time for that to come out, especially since it's gonna be indie, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I really hope it happens. I hope it gets enough funding, and I hope the vision that the creators have and all the artists get brought to life, and I hope everybody gets paid properly. That's like my wish. And I wish the fans get what we want as well. All we can do as fans is just support the show. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the Dragon Prince season 4 to 7. I think it was so amazing and it deserves so much more love. Genuinely, I think it was so good. Genuinely, as an Avatar fan, a longtime Avatar fan, I highly recommend the show. I don't really know much about the Kickstarter. I do know that they had funding and I think they did reach their goal. So hopefully we can get news on it soon. If you want to support the show, definitely watch it on Netflix. Watch it all through and support the Dragon King. Like literally the visual of it is so good. So the Dragon King, independent sequel series of the Dragon Prince. It will take place 7 years following the conclusion of Book 7 Dark. Dragon King is a new animated epic fantasy series that brings together the visionary creatives behind 3 incredible fandoms: Dragon Prince, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Critical Role. Oh, I've never heard of Critical Role. Maybe it's something I should watch. The cusp of vanishing into legend and the last of the arch dragons, the young Dragon King Zim wields his great power to forge a fragile peace in Zadia. But when a forsaken, forgotten Dragon Prince returns from the shadows of exile, Zim uncovers truth long buried. The throne he inherited may not have been to his claim, and the true heir has come to take it back. True heir? What? So it's not really his? The throne he inherited may not have been his to claim. So there's another baby? Nani? The new series already has some serious star power lined up. Jack DeSena will be reprising his Dragon Prince role as Callum. Yes! Talking Avatar: The Last Airbender. And Dante Bosco, Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender, will dramatically expanding his role as Zim. He's Zim? In the Dragon King. That was his voice? That was his voice? I did not even know. That's crazy. Dante Bosco expanding his role as Zim. He's the real Zim? I did not know. I just heard him say, "Hey guys, I can talk." What? I did not know it was him. That's crazy. But this is the first visual we have. Zim is all freaking grown up. He's huge. How is he gonna like fit in the castle anymore, you know? They have to like build a really big, gigantic castle for him. Ezran is all grown up now. Wow, I'm so happy. This is so beautiful. I really hope it gets the recognition it deserves and everything. Ooh, the sword too. The sword that was meant to kill Aaravos. The sword still has potential in actually defeating him once and for all. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm excited. I'm gonna have to wait. Literally, I started watching this show when I was like, what, like 19, 20? I'm turning 25 soon. In 7 years, I'll be like, what, 30? I'll have kids maybe, and I'll show them this show. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me yap about the show. I love the show so much, and I think you guys should check it out and let me know down below what you guys think about the show, what you think is gonna happen in the future, and anything I missed, anything that you would want to comment on my opinions, and anything you want to talk about that you kind of like have lingering about after watching the show. Any like thoughts and feelings you have, comment down who your most favorite character is if you don't know what's up to read about. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me yap. I'll see you guys next time, and I'm super excited to see more on the Dragon King. But yeah, thanks guys. Bye.